Today we're looking at the Brightin Star AF 85mm f1.8, currently testing it on my Sony a7 III, so an older body, but this is one of the, if not the cheapest autofocus 85-1.8 on the market. So for the lower budget folk, this could be a very decent buy. Let's jump out the frame and see how it's faring with the old focus breathing and autofocus catch up and all that. A7 III, of course, a very decent performer. Fujifilm, what is going on? Anyway, that's that test done. Let's get this thing into the studio and see what is what. Okay, gotta say, I do like the packaging that Brightin Star give you. There's all the bits that you get with it and the lens itself. So plastic hood, I believe the cap's already come off, snap cap. There we go. That is that. That's also come off. USB-C port at the bottom, dust and moisture resistance, weighs 510 grams. Manual focusing feels fine. Declicked aperture 1.8 to 16. No real big stop after the 16 to the A, but there we go. AF switch feels fine, and a custom button right there. So it's got an STM motor inside, and of course we're testing it on an older body just to see if we can squeeze some juice, some life out of it, I should say. 11 diaphragm blades, 10 elements in 7 groups. Of course, being 85mm, roughly 28.5 degree angle of view. Closest focusing 80 centimeters. No hard stops on that manual focus ring, by the way. Not much else to be said. First impressions, business as usual for this range from Brightin Star. Feels absolutely fine, quite solid, but let's put it to some use over the next month and see how it goes. $755 test shots later, how do I feel about the build and the handling? Well, yes, it's kind of weighty, but I've found it feels like, you know, a workhorse, solid, reliable, fits well on my camera. The rings are easy to work with, although I wish the aperture ring was clicked as usual. There's nothing outstanding, but it gets the job done. When it comes to build and handling. Autofocus, on the other hand, is a little bit of a story. It's a bit shaky. I had a few moments where it just wouldn't do anything at all, and others where it would hunt around. That could be down to the cold that I was testing in, or it just not enjoying my a7 III, which is older. But when it worked, it was actually pretty good. Now, the AF/MF switch doesn't feel amazing. The hood could be improved on to match the feel of the lens, but yeah, that is basically it. More importantly, how about the image quality? Let's find out. Sharpness is very good, even wide open. Edges step up to the mark once you get to around 2.8. Color rendering is really nice, and we're seeing good performance with contrast too. Chromatic aberration is minimal wide open, and Loca is moderate. Pincushion distortion is present but easily corrected. Vignetting also present wide open, that goes away by about f5.6. Now even with the hood, the plasticky hood, flare is rather wild, which has got nothing to do with it being plastic, but anyway, ad-libbing. Just be aware of the flare. Bokeh is kind of interesting. It's not too bad, but if you're, you know, worried about very imperfect specular highlights, this obviously isn't it, but you know, it is absolutely fine. Overall, I'd say f5.6 is the spot for the best overall performance, but the lens performs pretty well wide open, which is good news, because that's pretty much why you buy a lens like this. Just be careful with the stray light. Basically, image quality then, a win. I think in the last year I've gone back to kind of loving this 85mm focal length, which used to be my go-to in the early 2000s shooting weddings, and a Nikon 85-1.8 and later f1.4 was just an absolute treat. So it's been kind of fun to test a bunch of them lately. On the channel we've looked at the Samyang AF 85mm f1.8p, which is about £316. The 7 Artisans 85mm 1.8 at around 279. The Maker 85-1.8 Pro 263, and the Astri AF 85mm 1.8 Mark II at 259. All of those lenses represent decent value, and there are obviously others I haven't used enough to comment on. The cheapest out there though at the moment is the Brightin Star, which is going for £185 at the point of recording. So if you're really strapped for cash, I think this lens is very good value for money. If not, go for the Samyang or even Sony's own lens. But at the budget end, there's not that much in it really. So this lens definitely has a lot going for it, as long as the price is what it is at the moment when you go to buy. You know what I mean. At this price, it's a winner. Just about.